When a species is declared extinct, it often seems like a final outcome. But time and again, there are clues, sightings, and reports that cast doubt. In this video, I'll show you 7 more animals that are officially considered missing, but might still exist somewhere in the world today. Number 7. The short-necked squirrel giraffe. The short-necked squirrel giraffe, which is also commonly known as Palaeotragus, was an ancient and distant relative of today's modern giraffe, but with a much shorter neck. Fossil finds from East Africa clearly prove its existence millions of years ago. For a long time, it was considered extinct, but in recent decades, there have been repeated reports of giraffes with unusually short necks, especially from remote areas in Kenya and Ethiopia. Some zoologists suspect reversion mutations, while others consider it possible that an isolated population has survived. Some of these animals display a morphology that matches neither modern giraffes nor known mutations. So far, there are no definitive photos, but field biologists report sightings in hard-to-reach areas. If Palaeotragus has indeed survived, it would not only be a sensation, but also living proof of the diversity of prehistoric mammals in present-day Africa. Number 6. The Mexican grizzly bear. The Mexican grizzly was a subspecies of the North American grizzly. Smaller, but especially light in color, it lived in the mountainous regions of northern Mexico and was intensely hunted in the 20th century. In 1964, it was officially declared extinct, but there continue to be credible reports. Big game hunters, farmers, and hikers report seeing large, silvery brown bears in the Sierra Madre Occidental. Some sightings date from the 1990s, others are more recent. The area is sparsely populated and difficult to access. Unofficial trail camera footage shows large bears with unusual coloring, but clear DNA evidence is lacking. Mexican biologists have been calling for a new investigation of the region for years, because if even a few individuals manage to hide, it would be an unprecedented comeback for a predator that was already written off. Number 5. The Pyrenean Ibex, a wild mountain goat. The Bucardo, a subspecies of the Iberian Ibex, lived in the Pyrenees until the 20th century. In 2000, the last known specimen, a female, died. With that, the Bucardo was officially considered extinct. But in 2003, the unthinkable happened. Scientists cloned an animal from frozen tissue. The cloned Bucardo only lived for a few minutes, but it was the first animal in the world to be brought back to life after its extinction. And that's not all. In remote mountain regions of northern Spain, shepherds still report sightings of strange, robust wild goats with curved horns, noticeably different from today's Iberian Ibex. Could a tiny, overlooked population have survived somewhere? Or does the Bucardo at least live on in the genes of other goat species? Scientifically, that's not out of the question. Number 4. Giant kangaroo. The Procoptodon was a true prehistoric creature, a kangaroo up to 3 meters tall with a short face and impressively powerful forearms. According to mainstream opinion, it disappeared about 40,000 years ago. But in the vast and remote Australian outback, there are numerous reports of giant upright marsupials that simply cannot be explained by any of today's known species. Farmers as well as truck drivers describe encounters with animals that are at least twice as large as normal kangaroos, with a completely different gait and a much more powerful, muscular build. Although there are no photos or carcasses, the continent itself also offers places of refuge. Thousands of square kilometers are barely developed, and Australia has already rediscovered animal species several times that were long thought to be extinct. So why not the giant kangaroo as well? Number 3. Haast's Eagle. The Haast's Eagle was the largest known bird of prey in modern times, with an exceptionally impressive wingspan that could reach up to 3 meters. It primarily hunted moas, giant flightless birds of New Zealand, and likely disappeared 600 years ago after its prey was wiped out. but not everyone is convinced. Traditional Maori legends and stories contain mysterious accounts of giant blackbirds that could abduct people. And even modern hikers report sightings of birds of prey the size of a human in the southern Fiordland. New Zealand's landscape is untamed, rugged, and often difficult to access. Some biologists do not rule out the possibility that an extremely small remnant population has survived in regions that have hardly ever been scientifically explored. If the Haast Eagle were indeed still alive, it would be the most spectacular bird rediscovery of all time. Number 2. Titanoboa. The Titanoboa was a giant snake from the time after the dinosaurs. Fossils show that it grew up to 20 meters long, significantly larger than any python or anaconda alive today. Officially, it became extinct about 60 million years ago. But there are disturbing reports from the Amazon region. Fishermen, soldiers, and indigenous people tell of snakes as thick as tree trunks. Some are said to be able to capsize entire boats. Such stories keep surfacing, especially in the border region between Colombia and Brazil. Pilots also repeatedly report sightings in the rivers that cannot be explained. One thing is certain, the rainforest holds many secrets. Over 90% of its area has only been superficially studied biologically. And if a small population has managed to adapt to the challenging and murky depths of the swamps, perhaps the mighty Titanoboa or a very close relative could have survived after all. It would be a shock for paleontology, but not unthinkable. Number 1. The giant salamander of the Trinity Alps. In northern California, in the remote Trinity Mountains, locals have been reporting for decades about an unusual animal, a giant slimy salamander that lives in cold mountain streams and is said to be over 1.5 meters long. This strongly resembles the Japanese and Chinese giant salamanders, species that still exist today, but only in Asia. Officially, there is no comparable species in North America, but reports have been reported from today all the way back to the 19th century. Researchers who collected various samples in the region discovered unusual DNA traces in the waters. Some herpetologists believe it could be a relic population, an evolutionary offshoot that developed in prolonged isolation in California. This has never been confirmed, but the myth lives on, along with the enduring hope for a truly sensational discovery.